Coach, how's Saturday? Anything new today?
Saturday, a lot more situation work today. Real competitive day. We got a little bit more physical today, but they were good. You know, and it's a different schedule for us. Last year we were Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so we always had a day off between practice. This year, because of how the calendar fall, we go 4 days a week. So to come after a padded practice yesterday to another one today, I thought they did a good job. So.
What kind of situational stuff did you do today?
We did some coming out situations today. You know, trying to get a first down coming out from your own goal line. And then a lot of third down work today. So our defense was getting into their sub packages, and you know we were getting into some 4 wide packages. So it was a coming out day and a third down situation day for us.
In fact, they were good right from the start. Did you have to get on them at all?
No, they were good. I mean, we practiced we had meetings at 10:30 and practiced at 11:15, so they were fine. They were fine.
Just because it wasn't the first thing you're saying?
I don't know what it was, but I know they were good. They also know what we need to get. You know, you only get X amount of practices, so we're 4 in, you know, and we only get 15. So you got to make sure they all count. And how the schedule falls, we got to get 15 practices in 24 days basically, or 26 days. So they know they got to be sharpening around here. They got tomorrow. They're off today. They got this afternoon off, all day tomorrow off, and then we'll come back Monday. You know, get back into a normal schedule. We're 4 days a week, Monday through Friday. You know, for the next 2 weeks, and then those 3 days of practice that last week. So.
If you'd wanted to stretch it out, you would have had to start almost a week later, something like that.
No, if we wanted to go for 5 weeks, we would have not gotten all of our evaluation days in recruiting. So we're kind of up against it from that standpoint. We could have gone and then had the spring game on May 5th, but then we would have gone out May 6th, and then we wouldn't have got all our 30 days of evaluations in. So instead of being jammed up there, we just decided to see how this goes. I think I talked to Mike up at Oregon State. I think they're doing the same thing, and Sark was doing the same thing. Everybody that fell on the quarter schedule, you can't start in March. Like most schools, when they have spring break, they take a week off and they come back. But because we have finals and then spring break, you have to take, I think, 2.5 weeks off. There's too big a break to do it that way. So I think everybody kind of went to 4 days a week. So.
Chip, who stood out in your film work that you've seen?
In the first couple of days, I don't know if anybody's actually stood out where you're like, wow, that guy's head and shoulders above him. But you know, for us, it's seeing which guys are making improvements from practice. You know, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 right now. So I think we're getting a lot of good work at all positions, and it's a chance to see young kids, you know, like a Tony Washington, who's played for us last year. You know, to get to see Avery, get to see Brian Jackson, get to see some faces that you weren't used to seeing out there. But they've played, but they haven't played a ton. So those are some of the guys on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, James Usher's done a nice job on the offensive line for us. Tyler Johnstone's done some good things for us. You know, the young tight end Evan Bales is getting a lot of reps right now, and to understand where he's been right now, because there's a couple kids that aren't going full in practice at that position. So Kenyon Barner and D'Anthony Thomas aren't bad, you know, when you watch those guys out there. So, but Yale Ford and Kenny Bassett have done a nice job too. So it's interesting, and all 3 quarterbacks, I think, all 4 quarterbacks have done a decent job. Brian and Marcus are getting the bulk of the reps there, but been real happy with it. We've been really accurate with our throws. We got to catch them all a little bit more consistent. Too many drops today, but it was it's been a good first 4 days. You know, we'll see how they can bounce back once they're starting to get into a rhythm of how we're doing things now. And you know, once that newness wears off, you're always fired up the first couple of days of practice. What's it get like when you get from practice, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, until you get to the finish line is really, I think, where you can kind of test yourselves.
Usher's name keeps coming up. What do you guys see from him?
He's a big physical kid.
But he
really
was that coming in.
Yeah, but I think his body's catching up to him. He's starting to now, you know, as I was going to finish, he was a big physical kid, but he's starting to get some athleticism to go with that big physical part of it. So, you know, he was a big diamond in the rough. He's just worked so hard, I think, with Jimmy Radcliffe in the offseason. And then really mentally, he's doing a lot of good things. And when he gets his hands on it, it's tough for people to kind of get off of him. And you know, a kid that's forcing, as we try to get guys in our rotation, the O-line, you know, as he keeps working on it, it's nice to have some of those redshirted freshman offensive linemen starting to, you know, him and Johnstone, some of those kids, and Andre, you know, where do they fit? You know, because we lost Mark, we lost Darian, you know, we've got some proven guys back, but what are those young guys that we redshirted last year? And in the O-line, I've been really, you know, for the first 4 days, happy with some of our young kids at that position. So hopefully they can continue to grow. So.
What do you like specifically about the quarterback battle at this point?
The quarterback battle is that we don't have a game till September 1st, so I love that part of it. So, you know, those guys are out there competing every day. They're both improvement, and they're better today after practice 4 than they were after practice 1, which is what we've asked those guys to do. They've got a real good command of what we're trying to do, and we've thrown a lot of things at them in the first 4 days from an insertion standpoint, and they really haven't kind of gotten overloaded mentally, and they both done a nice job. But really, for us, there's no battle because we don't have to pick a starting quarterback, or we won't pick a starting quarterback. We did the same thing when Nate and Darren were battling it out a couple years ago, until we play that week before the first game. And that stuff will work itself out, because who's your quarterback on April 28th means nothing when you're not playing until the following September. So, but both those guys, are competing the way they should be competing there. They're encouraging to each other. They're learning when they're not in there. They're getting a lot of mental reps. And, they're doing a nice job in terms of how we've thrown a lot at them, but they've handled that package pretty good. So.
How has Mariota picked up the offense? Is he a quick learner?
Yeah, he was a really quick learner. You noticed that last fall when he was there. He picked everything up, and as we played Colorado up there, it was available. Marcus would have went together if the game was on high. I had no questions that he could play for us in the game. From a mental standpoint, it's just we did the same thing with Brian Bennett the year before. Because Brian was the backup when Nate went down, so we didn't play him in the game because we wanted to his red shirt. So, Team Mitch, you go make sure you eat before you take off, right?
You talked about some dropped balls in practice. Is that a matter of you guys getting used to the quarterbacks? Or
No, it was just more today than there were the other days. So, could be that the coverage is a little bit better. But that's something we got to continue to work on, our fundamentals of catching the football. It's one of those days. Sometimes you have a day where everybody catches everything and making highlight catches, and then some days where you're dropping the ball a little bit. But today, we had some opportunities and we had a few drops out there. Those are things we got to continue to work on.
As such, is there a unit that's ahead of where you expected them to be? Maybe the quarterbacks, maybe somewhere in the second round?
No. And I never had any expectations going in, so it's not, hey, I expected these guys to be here and they're here. It's everybody, again, if they're all battling each other from an individual basis, and if they can show improvement, then they're all on the right track, and that's what we've gotten so far.